The bass is just shaking the floor. You can feel it in your chest. The air is thick with champagne and success.
Mm-hmm.
We're Universal Music's exclusive BRIT Awards afterparty. It's March 1st. This is the place to be. Reputations are supposed to be safe here.
Supposed to be. And in that, that high-energy celebratory bubble, you have two very different worlds colliding.
Yeah.
On one side, there's Danny Jones, McFly star, right? Fresh off winning I'm a Celebrity, he's the king of the jungle. He's built this whole image around being a decent, down-to-earth family man.
And on the other side,
Maura Higgins. She's pure reality TV energy, the magnetic, unforgettable star from Love Island.
and they're not strangers. They were campmates in the jungle. So there's history, there's chemistry, and there are cameras everywhere.
And then it happens one brief, unguarded moment, a drunken kiss caught on a phone, and just like that, music stops.
A private mistake becomes a massive public scandal, and it threatens a marriage that's lasted a decade.
Welcome to StarScope Report.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today we are unpacking the full, painful life cycle of this celebrity crisis.
The headline says it all. Danny Jones faces fallout after viral kiss. For you, we are going to dive deep into every single stage of this thing, from the second that footage dropped, through the calculated path to reconciliation, and right up to the lingering professional awkwardness that's still there months later.
Yeah, the mission here isn't just about the gossip. It's about understanding how fragile a public image really is, especially one built on being the perfect family man.
Okay, let's get into it. The moment of implosion. We're calling this segment The King of the Jungle Caught Out.
The irony is just, it's staggering, isn't it?
It really is.
Danny Jones, he's 39, McFly heartthrob, married to Georgia Horsley since 2014. They have a 7-year-old son, Cooper, and he's just won the biggest reality show in the UK.
That win was everything. It cemented him as the loyal guy, the dependable one.
And then the Afterparty, March 1st. He's seen with Maura Higgins, who is 34, and let's be honest, she brings a certain level of drama and visibility with her.
And they had that connection from the jungle. People saw them bonding. It always felt like a bit of a ticking clock, right?
It did, and the timing of the visual evidence was just catastrophic for him.
Yeah.
Witnesses said they shared a brief drunken kiss.
Right.
But the key detail here isn't really the kiss itself. I mean, you could maybe spin that as a momentary lapse.
It's a mistake, yeah. Too much champagne.
Exactly. It's the context surrounding it. That's what makes it so much worse.
Okay, so it wasn't just a quick peck. Sources say they were seen talking, laughing, very intimately for about 90 minutes.
90 minutes. That suggests real engagement, not just a clumsy accident.
And then they leave.
They leave that party and go to a second one, Sony Music's event at the Nobu Hotel. And they're eventually seen leaving that venue together at around 6 in the morning.
6 a.m. That changes the entire story. It goes from oops, I slipped to a sustained interaction.
A very sustained interaction.
And the fallout from that lands immediately and very publicly on his wife, Georgia. You have to just imagine being in her shoes.
Oh, it's brutal. The news drops globally, instantly. Sources close to her said she was humiliated and mortified.
And reports also said she moved out.
She did, reportedly moved out of the family home to stay with a friend, at least temporarily. That physical separation, that tells you everything. This wasn't a small argument.
No.
This was a full-blown crisis. She also pulled out of a public Q&A she had scheduled, just went completely silent.
And this is where the cruelty of modern fame really kicks in. Just hours after this video surfaces, she had a new episode of her podcast, Mum's the Word, set to be released.
And on that very episode, she was already talking about her struggles. She was discussing feeling burnout from solo parenting while Danny was away in the jungle.
So it was already raw and honest.
Exactly. She was talking about how overwhelmed she was, and then she just let the episode go out. She didn't mention the kiss, didn't mention Danny.
That silence was deafening.
It was a power move, actually. She controlled her own narrative. She focused on her existing struggles, her independence, instead of letting his mistake define her in that moment.
Yeah, that's a really good point. She refused to be the victim.
And it just highlights the central irony again. Danny won over the public because he seemed like the one celebrity who wouldn't do this. He was the safe bet.
And he immediately blew it up. The public saw this as one shocking mistake. But if you dig into the sources, you find a history here. This kiss was part of a pattern, and that pattern completely undermined his apology.
Absolutely. And that history is exactly where we're going next, how a 2-week silence was doomed from the start because of his past.
Okay, so let's shift to the crisis control phase, or the lack of it. We're calling this one 2 weeks of silence, Danny's apology, Maura's silence, and a history of infidelity.
The first thing you notice is just the vacuum.
Nothing.
For 2 full weeks, nothing from Danny's camp, which is a lifetime in viral news cycles. He finally puts out this short apology on Instagram on March 14th.
The delay itself tells a story, doesn't it? It screams crisis talks.
Oh, for sure. Intense conversations with Georgia, with his management. And the apology itself was classic damage control. Short, sweet, to the point.
He apologized to his wife and family for putting them in this situation, and then ended with that classic line about dealing with it privately.
It's a shield, a request for privacy to handle the mess he made. But while he's trying to put the genie back in the bottle, Maura Higgins is running a masterclass in professional detachment.
Complete silence from her.
Total, calculated silence. She never says a word about the kiss. In fact, right around the time Danny is posting his apology, what does she post?
I remember this. It was a glammed up, behind-the-scenes photo from a fashion shoot.
In California, she literally put an ocean between herself and the drama.
And that move, just posting about work, looking amazing, being geographically distant, it sent a clear message.
The message was, this is his problem, not mine. It protected her brand perfectly while Danny was, taking the public flogging.
But the real reason his apology fell so flat wasn't just the delay or the wording, it was the history.
This is the key analytical piece. Danny has a well-documented history of this kind of behavior that predates his marriage.
Exactly. This isn't the first time. Our sources point back to 2008. He left his long-term girlfriend, Olivia Shaw, after he was caught kissing a model, Laura Coleman.
And it gets worse, because the connection to his wife, Georgia, is, well, it's messy. Sources claim that he actually betrayed Laura Coleman to pursue Georgia.
And it took him a year of persuading her before she agreed to even date him.
So think about that narrative. The public immediately connects the dots. He cheated to get this marriage, and now he's cheating within this marriage.
He completely destroys any argument that this is a one-off drunken mistake. It looks like a pattern of behavior, a character flaw, not an accident.
And that's why the public was so skeptical. He just didn't have the credibility.
What's really fascinating, though, is how Georgia used this whole crisis to establish her own power. Sources said she was refusing to be seen as a victim.
And she wasn't just sitting around. She got to work. She secured a really big new deal with Omaze for social media ads.
That's a huge move. She's demonstrating professional and financial independence.
Which is key. In a celebrity crisis like this, that autonomy gives her all the power. It raises her status in the relationship and in the public eye.
She was signaling, I am not just Mrs. Danny Jones. She's her own brand. It allowed her to approach the reconciliation from a position of strength, not desperation. If you find this kind of breakdown of celebrity power dynamics interesting, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We get into these subtle shifts every week.
Because that strategic move by her really set the stage for the final act, the very public reconciliation and the ongoing professional cleanup.
Right. So Georgia has her boundaries, Danny's made his apology, and the public heat starts to die down a little. The repair process begins with these intense private crisis talks.
Yeah, sources confirm Danny was mortified and was keen to work things out. He was vowing to do anything to make it work.
That desperation really shows you the leverage Georgia had, doesn't it? By moving out, by focusing on her career.
Absolutely. So the big narrative shift from crisis to reconciliation, that was signaled when she decided to return to the family home. But in the public sphere, you need proof.
You need visual proof. Intentions don't mean anything online.
And this is where their PR strategy really kicked in. They had to control the optics, and they chose the family unit as their main weapon.
So they started rolling out these very strategic images, photos from a big family gathering.
And then, the most important one, a really sweet, very visible Father's Day post. It featured Danny and their son, Cooper. This was months after the incident.
The media ate it up. They immediately started describing their holiday photos as a defiant family holiday.
That word defiant is so important. It frames them as standing strong against the public judgment. They successfully changed the story to be about their family's survival.
It's like they were saying, you all judged us, but look, we're still here, we survived. It was a very effective way to use a positive emotional moment to kind of wash away the scandal.
But fixing things at home doesn't just erase the professional tension. The awkward aftermath is maybe the biggest cost.
It really is. And the first sign was avoidance. Danny completely skipped the BAFTA TV Awards after rumors started that Maura Higgins was going to be there.
Think about that. He chose protecting his fragile marriage over a major industry event. Professional visibility took a backseat.
He was willing to miss one of the biggest nights of the year just to avoid a bad photo op.
But you can't avoid each other forever in that industry. The collision was bound to happen.
And it did. The truly awkward reunion happened months later, October 2025, at the National Television Awards, the NTAs, one of the UK's biggest TV events.
They had to be there. They were both part of the I'm a Celebrity cast, which was accepting the award for reality competition.
The gossip before the show was already buzzing. Sources had revealed they were originally supposed to be seated just 4 seats apart.
Can you imagine the PR scramble to get that seating chart changed?
So when they finally got up on stage together, you could feel the tension, even to the TV screen. Danny, who's 38, he takes charge of the acceptance speech.
And Maura, 34, is just standing right there beside him, silent.
And social media just exploded. Instantly, people remember the kiss. Comments were flooding in like, bit awkward seeing Danny and Maura on stage together.
And everyone was wondering the same thing. How does Georgia feel watching this right now?
So his mistake was now playing out live on primetime television for the entire country to see.
So we've seen the whole arc, the viral breach, the historical backlash, and then this very hard one, domestic reconciliation that they achieved through PR.
The family PR strategy worked on a domestic level. They projected unity, they weathered the storm, and they came out with this narrative of endurance.
And crucially, Georgia reclaimed her own story. She refused to be a victim. She shifted the focus from his mistake to her own resilience and professional strength.
That's the real takeaway here. A viral moment like this has consequences that are both domestic and professional. They might have fixed things at home, but that doesn't get rid of the awkwardness at work.
Right. The public memory is long. It just gets reactivated every single time those two are in the same room. The cost of a reputation crisis now is that your past becomes a permanent co-star in your career.
So even though the Jones family has successfully projected this united front, the defiant holiday, the Father's Day post, what does the continued necessary public avoidance of Maura Higgins actually reveal? The skipped awards, the frantic seating changes. What does that tell us about the true long-term cost of this kind of crisis?
It reveals that an apology might fix the marriage, but the public and the media will demand professional separation. You can repair things at home, but you can never fully fix the optics.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.